coming together, opening the hearts in prayer, continuing to breathe into your body, just drawing the breath into the body as we're gathering on the call and coming up, we're coming together, opening our hearts, drawing the breath in and out. And we're going to open this call with 5 tones. So as you're breathing and drawing the energy into the body, just begin to tone. Drawing the breath in and out of the body. Sometimes just being inactive is the most important thing that you can do. So drawing your breath in, on the outward breath, just try to let go of the day and all the thoughts and all the busyness, and try to keep the breath moving through your body, being aware, deeply aware of just what's going on in your body, what's going on in your emotions, what's going on in your thoughts. Let that awareness just drift outside of you and keep your focus on the breath, drawing the breath in and out, drawing the breath in and out, drawing the breath in and out. What brings us to this gathering tonight is the events that took place in Charlottesville over the weekend, and also all of our hearts opening. We're here in this time and space together because of the magnetic energy that draws us together. So as you breathe, coming together, we're going to just repeat the 2017 invocation. I'll unmute us so anyone can say it together.
All callers are unmuted.
2017, this is the invocation that came through for the year. And I thought it was interesting on the tail end of the invocation that came in for 2016. In 2016, the invocation that came in for the year was divine harmony. And as we were moving through that year after the January channeling, I kept thinking how interesting it was. Spirit was talking about the light will be coming in this year and really penetrating the third dimension and really changing the third dimension. And it named off several areas in 2016 January of what area in the third dimension would be changing, and one of those was government. And I remember just thinking about it later, okay, there we go. And as the year progressed, I started to see so much coming up around government and issues and realized, it's an election year. And then I started to see more separation and disharmony. And I thought, how appropriate when the invocation for divine harmony came in, and the realization that as we move towards that coming together in the divine harmony, every place that is wounded, that is separated, that is fractured, started to come to the surface. We move into 2017, start channeling for 2017, and the message is, the invocation is activation of divine light and acceptance of the divinity within all human beings, within each person. Right now, as you're breathing and thinking of that, and before we go into reading this invocation, you may start thinking about how challenging it might be to see the divine light in some of the individual actions and things that we've been seeing and some of the violence that's going around. So taking a few deep breaths, just pondering on that for a moment, the divine light within yourself, the divine light within every human being, and how that the world, in moving towards that, is showing up everything that is not divine, is showing up everything that is not unified, and we're starting to see where the fractures are. And that is an indication that healing is beginning to take place. And as that healing begins to take place, we feel the sorrow and we feel the pain. And at the same time, we feel a phenomenal gift of love. And so drawing the breath into your body, opening the heart, you begin through the pain to feel that gift of love if you can keep that open-heartedness. And that is the challenge, keeping the open-heartedness. So drawing the breath into your body right now, deeply, deeply. We begin the invocation. I'll state it and then you can repeat it. I call on the spiritual light from the heavens and the earth to activate the divine light within me. Ready? I call on the spiritual light from the heavens and the earth, the divine light within me. And drawing the breath in. I accept the divine light within me. I accept the divine light within me. I practice kindness and gentleness to nourish and support the growth of divine light within me. I practice kindness and gentleness to nourish and support the growth of the divine light within me. I call upon the spiritual light from the heavens and from the earth to activate the divine in all living beings. I call upon the spiritual light from the heavens and the earth to activate the divine in all living beings. And opening the palms, this is the most challenging part. I accept that the seeds of the divine exist within all living beings. I practice kindness and gentleness to nourish and support the growth of the divine light within all living beings. I accept that the seeds of the divine exist within all living beings. Kindness and gentleness to nourish and support the growth of divine light within all living beings. Then bring those open palms together in front of your heart, and we'll now tone again 3 times together.
All callers are muted and they can unmute themselves.
And as you continue breathing, just open the palms to receive, continuing to breathe. So we are seeing a manifestation of the first stages of healing, and the first stages of healing are being able to be open in the face of these reactive energies that we see going on around us. I chose to call this praying with Charlottesville rather than praying for Charlottesville, knowing that there were many individuals in that scenario, in that space, that held a divine energy, that opened to the heart energy, and in that their hearts feel pain and sadness, and in that their hearts feel also feel that love. I heard from a friend that was there, in the march, had come down. To be part of the march, and she said she felt a profound, despite the violence that was going on, she felt profound waves of love, and through that love also the sadness, the sadness and the pain, but she didn't feel anger, she didn't feel violence, she didn't feel fear. She had moved through her own fear. And this time that we're in, this time period between the full moon on August 7th and the new moon and the total solar eclipse on August 21st, so next Monday, is a very powerful time. And before I went on my retreat week, I had written on the blog what had come through me in my meditation one of those mornings before the full moon, so it was maybe very early August 1st or 2nd, I don't remember the date. It was to put the invocation up, which is up on the blog, and to share with people that it would be very helpful to be saying this invocation between, during this corridor of time when this light is moving so rapidly into the earth, and we are moving rapidly into this different vibratory frequency, this different age. And so remember, when you watch things that are vibrating, and one of the reasons that we tone so much is to feel that vibration run through your bones, your teeth, your own being. When we watch that vibration move through things and we watch things vibrating, when they fall out of a frequency into a new frequency, there's a tremendous rattling. And so any of you who've ever been on, those carousels that kids have in the park, and, you try to stop it, it gets going. It's like a centrifuge. It's really spinning, and it's going, and it's in a certain way, and it's just moving along. But if you stop it, if you throw something in that changes it, it starts to rattle. If the washing machine gets unbalanced, those old agitating machines that are spinning, if they get unbalanced, they, rattle. I have an old one, and it moves across the floor with lots of loud noise. So what's happening is we were in a frequency, and that frequency and that vibration kept things a certain way. People are often speaking about these things that are surfacing that are so horrendous, this people thinking they're better than other people because of race, creed, socioeconomic, intelligence, whatever it is, hair color, eye color, religious idioms, whatever it is, people thinking they're superior to one another and having this attitudes of inequality. It's not new. It's been with us in a long time, but like the centrifuge, we've been in a certain frequency. We're moving out of that. That's the truth. That's the knowing. We're moving out of that frequency into a higher frequency. So judgment becomes discernment. Sympathy becomes compassion. We are moving up to higher frequencies of all of the feelings. And so ultimately we are moving from fear to love. The highest vibration is love, is that openness, from closed to open. And when things open that have been closed, they're often painful. There's a painful feeling. Anyone on this phone that's given birth knows that opening it's amazing, giving birth. There's a wonderful outcome to it, but the opening, the process of the opening is often very painful. So we are moving into an opening. And Judith's comment of seeing the joy and the beauty in that moment, feeling the wave of love, was indicating someone whose heart is opening and who can feel love despite the violence or the closed-mindedness or the idiocy, that ignorance that someone might see going on around them. So we have that opportunity to hold the vibration of the new frequency. Many of us, in moving into our new frequencies, have gone through our own rattling, our own fears, and we're still going through them. And with this eclipse coming up, we have an opportunity to look into the shadow of our own selves and to find that balance, to look into the hurts within us that have been caused by others and that we have caused, real or imagined, to others, and to begin to heal those. And beginning to heal those, we start to heal the bigger collective hurts that we have in this country, that we have in this world, that we have through all the times that there has been war and famine and strife, which is a very human experience and human condition. So we also have the experience of love, and we also have the experience during our incarnations, our many incarnations of very beautiful souls incarnating, teaching us about love, teaching us about compassion, teaching us about forgiveness, teaching us about mindfulness, teaching us many of the tools that we have now and that we can embrace individually and move collectively into states of enlightenment. And so we're in the process of getting there, and that process demands us to be aware. And sometimes in that awareness, we need to slow down. We're very active people. We live in a very active world. We have lots going on. We need to slow down to sit with ourselves. And as we're coming up to this time of this great eclipse, when the shadow falls, we can go into our own shadows and we have an opportunity to heal them. And so as busy as your lives are, and as many distractions as there are out in the world, and as much reactiveness that will be going on to this energy, we can choose pacification. We can choose to be peaceful. We can choose to find peace. And to find that peace, we need to find it within ourselves. So taking a moment and just holding the palms up, drawing the breath in again, just as you started this evening, deeply, deeply into the body, and feeling your own pain and your own disturbance and your own rattling, your own sense of being off balance, your agitation, whatever you might feel over some of the things you see going in the world. Finding a moment of peace as you watch those things. And if it's pain you feel in your body, just go ahead and breathe into that pain. Draw it deeply into your center, and on the outward breath, focus on love. So think of something that's loving. Think of, I'm looking out the window, there's a hummingbird right now. And I'm seeing that joyful being. And so I'm sending that love out into the world, out into all these different factions and groups that have come together, each thinking that they have the right way to do it. I'm thinking of smiles of my friends and hugs and sunsets, thinking of whatever is loving to you, whatever is beautiful to you, and just sending that out and drawing the pain that you feel from hurts that you've carried from past lives, from this life, from these incidents this weekend, from friends, from family, from just all the shock of reactions and eruptions of emotions that are unbalanced into the world. So just like when you're, again, hearing the washing machine and it starts banging so incredibly loudly, it just jars me, and I run upstairs to put it into balance again. And these are the jarring kinds of feelings that are within ourselves when emotions get out of balance, when anger boils itself into deep hatred and that turns into violence, and when pain and sorrow becomes inconsolable. We know what those feel like, and they throw us off. We also know love. So taking a moment to send the love on the outward breath, and on the inner breath, cope with your own anguish. Draw it in on the inner breath, your own sadness, your own fear. And on the outward breath, focus on sending out love. So we'll go ahead and we'll just try this for about 15 deep breaths, just drawing in to your body and just feeling your sadness or your contraction, your fear. And on the outward breath, focusing on just sending love out into the world. And the inward breath, just feeling the pain and the worry, the discouragement. And on the outward breath, sending the joy of that little hummingbird, the blue sky that I see right now here in California, the green trees, the fact that there are beautiful souls in the world willing to be in their truth, the fact that you are willing to be in your truth, the fact that you are looking this year at accepting your divine nature, finding it, going into your shadows and forgiving yourself and moving through those and looking at everything inside you with love, and then beginning to turn that outward and looking at others with love. I saw something on Facebook posted by one of my old teachers the other day, and Facebook not being always a place that I tend to go to, but I just happened to be on there, and it was a picture of a girl sitting on a bench, and she was kind of just deflated, and it just said something under, it's like, everybody's been hurt at one point in their life. Everyone hurts us at one point in our life, and it's just how important those people are to you to kind of move through that hurt. So I couldn't remember the last part of the thing, but I think what struck me about it is the truth that, yes, we've all been hurt by our loved ones. Let's not even think of these people that we feel are so completely different than us and we don't understand. Let's move closer to home, to your own hurt as you're breathing it in and breathing joy out into the world. Think of the people that you love and the times that they've hurt you or they've let you down or they just said that little thing that made you feel bad or you felt this or you felt that. And, as I examine myself and sit in the shadows of my own self, I see that. And I see oftentimes when that hurt comes in that I'll want to respond from that hurt place and maybe say a little, just a little thing outward too. And sometimes it's a barb, and sometimes it's less than a barb. Whatever it is, if it's not coming from love, it's coming from that place, and it's ultimately a beginning of that huge snowball that ends up in a riot or ends up in somebody dying or violence or destruction or war. And so in this moment, if you can see those spaces within yourself and draw the breath in and begin seeing the divine seeds next to that, and knowing that your divine nature would stop, slow down, and turn away from the reactionary spot. Turn to forgiveness, turn to understanding. You can't erase the hurt. You have to be with your hurt, but you can move into the hurt, and you can find the compassion for that object, person, thing that hurt you. You can find the compassion. You can look into ourselves. And so we have that opportunity to right now to look at the things going on around us in the material world and realize on some level there's a collective reflection, and maybe a personal reflection, an individual reflection for what we see. We can look in those things that we find really terrible or atrocious, and we can find them in ourselves, and we can heal them in ourselves. This is a long journey that we've been on to get to this point. We are in the dawning of the new age. We are moving out of an old age. And so all around us is the swirling energy vibrations from the lower and the higher. And it is our opportunity to step into that higher frequency, raise our higher frequency through accepting our divine nature. And so some days when I say the invocation, when I get to the end of it, I don't know whether it's more challenging to try to find the divinity in myself or to try to find and accept it in someone else. So if you really meditate on it and think of it, it's not always easy to accept the divine in ourselves either. We're our harshest critics. We contract. We keep our barriers and our boundaries up to protect ourselves because we understand hurt. So drawing the breath in deeply, deeply, and breathing deeply into the spaces of hurt, Divine Mother, Divine Father, Ascended Masters, Archangels, Guides, Guardians, may the seeds of divinity begin to nourish, nurture, and grow inside of all beings. May the seeds of the divine light begin to be nurtured and nourished. May my gentleness and kindness that I practice with myself nourish and nurture those seeds within my being. And may that peaceful energy that I emanate out of me affect people around me. Just as the tone runs through your body with the vibration from the Om, so does the tone of your quiet, balanced, peaceful vibration move out into the world. And eventually it's felt, it's heard, it's attracting, it's bringing us together. So a large number of us brought together out of our days right now in different time zones just to be here in this moment. And drawing those palms open to receive, drawing the breath in deeply, deeply. Think of the 1,000-armed Quan Yin. She appeared for a client the other day that I was working with, and she came to remind him that she has thousands of arms, the compassionate one, to take those burdens. So visualize the Avalokitesvara, the Quan Yin, the 1,000-armed Chenrezig, however you might see it, the 1,000-armed being just ready to take your burdens. And together with the palms open, dearest Lady Quan Yin, we call on you now, compassionate one, to receive the burdens that are too heavy for us to carry right now, to help us lighten our hearts and our loads, and to help us hold the light within ourselves. 10 tones. Om. 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 And drawing the breath in, calling on the goddess, the compassionate one, the compassionate energies, however you see, the angels, the ascended masters, whoever you see as the compassionate one, just call on that energy right now. And bringing that compassionate energy in, extend compassion for something in your life that's irritating. And remember, the power of prayer is very, very powerful, the power of blessing. And so as you open your palms now to the universe, send your prayer out from your heart. Send your prayer out, your blessing out. Find some situation, person, place, or thing to bless, and we'll be silent for 60 seconds or so. Blessed beings, sons and daughters of the light, you are blessed, you are blessings, and you have the capacity to bring blessings into your world. Accept the divine nature within yourself. In this moment in time, fully embrace it as much as you can. Breathe it in, and that divinity will breathe out into the world. There are moments as you move through your day, as you move through your life, as you continue your journey in physical form, where you will lose sight of the divine nature in yourself and others. In this moment, find it burning bright, the jewel within, shining, stars of light. Give yourself time to look at the night sky and look at the stars. Give yourself time to sit quietly, in peaceful meditation, in peaceful contemplation. Watch the sunset, the waves, be with nature. Move away from the noise of your fears, your mind chatter, and move into the silence of the emptiness of creation within. I am Quan Yin, the compassionate one, the mother. You are moving into that new age and that new frequency. Your cells are changing. Your consciousness is changing. Your demeanor in the world is changing. Trust in that. To make those changes and see those changes in the world, you must make changes in the way that you move through the world, in the choices that you make. To make the choices that bring you into the new age, to make the choices that ride this wave, that ride this cosmic wave into the higher vibration. Let go of your fears, let go of your angst, let go of doing it right or wrong, and be. Be with yourself as much as possible. It is particularly powerful during this corridor that we are in that leads you to next Monday's event on your planet. Your astrological heavenly bodies that move around the planet indicate times when there are openings in the universe for new energies to pour through, for consciousness to be raised. Do not struggle so much with the problems and the hows and the whys. Rather go into balancing, peace, harmony, and forgiveness, and this world will transform as you transform. I am Quan Yin. This is our truth. This is your truth. I am Quan Yin. Receive the blessing with the palms open now from the garden. We speak to you of the garden of flowers for many reasons. You have heard it many times, and yet you forgot the depth, the beauty of these beings that are represented on your planet in physical form by the flowers. The beauty, the delicacy of these beings, they represent love and the vibration of love. They represent healing in the vibration of healing. They represent diversity and unity in the vibration of the garden. I am Quan Yin. The flowers are your friends. The vibrational nature of the flowers, the message of the flowers, the beauty of the flowers, their roots, their healing properties, their higher consciousness vibrations that you have yet to tap into, all speak to you. And so we speak to you always of the garden. Open the palms and receive the blessing in your hearts, in your consciousness, in your third eye of the garden. I am Quan Yin. Tone 3 times and receive. There are souls who have participated on both sides of the equation of the light and the dark, and what you have seen erupt in the physical form in Charlottesville, and what you will continue to see in different cities. Those souls all need to be blessed as they move forward. Those souls all need to be forgiveness, and you, each one, need to be in your truth. Walking peacefully in the world in your truth, stating your truth and living your truth. Change the things that you need to change in your own life, and you will see the world begin to change. This is a truth. I am Quan Yin. Come to the garden for nurturing nourishment. Come to the garden for healing and wholeness. Come to me in the garden. Bring your wounds, bring your sorrows, bring your joy, bring your harmony, bring your divinity, and find your divinity, and find your healing, and find your wholeness. I am Quan Yin, speaking from the garden. And bringing the palms together in prayer pose. Just tone 3 times for everyone. Again, think of your blessings that you want to send out into the world. Imagine sending them out through the phone lines. Imagine sending them out through the internet lines. Sending the blessings out into the world. Finding your wholeness, your peace, and letting that peace flow from you. There are many light and divine beings. There are many beings accepting that divinity and raising the wattage and vibration within their own beings. You are raising your vibration. Be at peace with yourself. Forgive yourself for iniquities as you go deeply within your own being. Look at the shadows and know that the world will be looking at shadows over these next several days, deeper and deeper. It's a time for healing those shadows, those rifts. Find wholeness and peace and harmony in yourself. And just like Judith felt the love rippling through all the fear and all the violence, felt the love along with the sorrow and the pain, you too can feel that love and bring that love into the world. I am Quan Yin, speaking from the garden. That's one thing that I wanted to kind of share and read today, and I was thinking of Thich Nhat Hanh, who went through the Vietnam War, and he's in his 70s now, and he's brought a lot of information about mindfulness and brought that awareness of mindfulness into our country. And in the 1960s, Thich Nhat Hanh had formed a relationship with Dr. Martin Luther King, and he was very instrumental in encouraging Martin Luther to speak against the Vietnam War in 1967. And 1967, King, oops, come here, kitty. Sorry, my kitty wants to join us. Martin Luther King nominated Thich Nhat Hanh for the Nobel Peace Prize. And this is one of the things he wrote in his nomination that he wrote putting forward for Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King wrote for Thich Nhat Hanh. It would remind all nations that men of goodwill stand ready to lead warring elements out of the abyss of hatred and destruction. He wrote that it would reawaken men to the teaching of beauty and love found in peace. It would help revive hopes for a new order of justice and harmony. No, Thich Nhat Hanh was not, he did not receive the nomination. He did not receive the Nobel Peace Prize at that time, but that's what King wrote. And then the same year, King had delivered a speech at the Southern Christian Leadership Conference extolling the power of love in a way that Thich Nhat Hanh still echoes. I know that love is ultimately the only answer to mankind's problems. That's what Martin Luther King said. I'm not talking about emotional bosh when I talk about love. I'm talking about a strong, demanding love. For I have seen too much hate. I have decided to love. I thought that was a very powerful statement. We have all seen too much hate, too much violence. We need to decide to love. And I think that loving energy starts, with us in our personal lives, with our loved ones, recognizing where we need to forgive family, loved ones, friends, ex-friends, whatever it is, and then let that spread out like a pebble in a pool and bring it to those factions that we don't understand. Understand that at the very basic level, all human beings ultimately want some kind of happiness for themselves, no matter how divergent from the path it seems at times, and bring that unity consciousness closer and closer together as you feed it with accepting your divinity and you nourish and nurture that divine nature with peace, love, beauty, and harmony. And so drawing that breath in, we'll close tonight's circle with a tone together.
All callers are unmuted.
And if you want to just bring your palms together, in front of your heart, and you just want to, it's a lot of us on this call, but if you just want to throw out some word or very simple thought before we close, go ahead and do that. Peace.
Divinity awakening. Heartfelt. Harmony and peace.
Love the world and everyone in it.
Wholeness.
Tenderness. Forgiveness.
Healing.
Grace.
So for all of you that... Go ahead. Don't be afraid to speak.
Joy. Compassion. Acceptance.
And so for all of you...
Peace and love.
Peace and love. For all of you in Charlottesville and Ruckersville and Afton and Virginia area. For all of you everywhere in California and New York and Connecticut, wherever you are. Lots of love and harmony, and just remember, we're going towards that. We're going towards that eclipse. It's a real opportunity to look into the shadows, and that's one of the opportunity. These groups, these so-called, hate groups, and these so-called things that we see going on in the government, they're giving us an opportunity to really look into that part that's been hidden. So it's rising to the surface. It's definitely a radical healing, but sometimes we need that radical healing before the total healing can take place. So the more balance, peace, love, and harmony. I'm with Martin Luther King. I've seen too much dissension, too much hate. I've decided to love. Blessings to all of you this evening.